So in today's video, I wanted to talk about UW-Madison, since I looked for this kind of thing on the internet when I picked my school and to try to figure out what people thought of it and answer my questions, and I couldn't find anything. In general, Madison seems like a really big campus when you first get here, but once you've been here for a term, you start to pretty much know where everything is. The buses are awesome. You can get a free bus pass, so you can get to most places outside of campus, like the grocery store, pretty easily. There are 5 free bus routes on the campus, but only 2, the 80 and the 85, run all day, and they each make loops around campus. The best way to get around is probably a bike. There are bike lanes on most of the roads, and people are pretty used to them. There's also bike racks outside of pretty much every building. So a question a lot of people have is, what are the dorms like? There's 2 dorm neighborhoods. There's Lakeshore and Southeast. I live in Lakeshore. I actually live in Sullivan, which is the room I'm in. So I'll show you that. It looks like here is pretty much around. So you get, it's my roommate's side. I'll show you this side, which is my side. So you get a built-in closet. There's the door. You get a bed, and then you get a desk, which my computer is currently on, and a bookcase. You can see my roommate's behind me. Lakeshore is the quieter of the 2 buildings. It's a lot more spread out than Southeast. Crocs, which is a combination of Sullivan, Cronsage, and Cole, is the same number of people as live in Celery. Mainly with dorms, get used to it being small. If you put your bed up a little, you can get some Rubbermaid bins under there. But most people loft their beds high. If you have a TV, pretty much the only way to really configure it is to loft both beds up high, put the TV under one and a couch or a futon under the other. The things you get vary by your dorm building. In Sullivan, you get a bed, you get a chest of drawers thing, you get a desk and a bookcase. The bookcase isn't attached, and mine actually sits onto sections of 2x4 so that I can run some cables under it. Personally, my dresser thing is in my closet area because I don't want it to sit anywhere else. If you loft, you probably have a little bit more room, but neither I or my roommate has our beds lofted up high. You get this mini fridge, which is sitting back here. You have to provide your own microwave if you want one. It's a nice thing to have. There's a free one in the kitchen, down in the basement, but for most things, just microwave helps. I know that in Cronsage you kind of have a built-in dresser, and you still have that built-in closet thing. They have different beds than us, and they have different desks than us, and they have a more logical shelving unit than Sullivan. I don't know about many of the other dorms. I know from walking past Southeast that most of the beds in Southeast are lofted, and they're lofted by the window. The food this year was in Holt Commons, but next year it's going to be in the new hall, which they haven't finished building yet, but that's where they're going to move all the food. Next year, Carson's, which was one of the food places for Lakeshore, is closed for remodeling, so all of the food for Lakeshore will either be in the new Lakeshore Hall, which doesn't have a name right now, or it'll be in Liz Waters. So you might be wondering what classes are like. Some teachers love homework, some don't. Sometimes only exams matter, but no matter what, go to class because it's probably the best thing you can do for your grade. A lot of teachers will give you the answers to their test questions in class. A lot of teachers will come in and say, here's the previous test, here's what I'm going to ask you. Some don't, but it's always worth it. You might get surprise textbooks, which are textbooks that aren't listed online. Be prepared for that. You might have to make more than one stop at the bookstore, and books will cost you more than you think. I spent probably $500 this past semester on books. They are expensive. If you can rent them, do it. And remember to sell your books back right at the end of the semester, because if you wait any longer than that, they're not going to be worth anything. When you sign up for classes, try to make sure the classes they're signing up for count for the credit that you need. There's this thing called a DARS report. It tells you what classes you need, and it gives you the exact class name. If you can get one of those, it's on the student center. If you can get one of those, look at it because it's like the most helpful thing for planning classes. It's like 11 pages long, but it is so worth it. This next part's engineering related because I'm an engineering major, so if it doesn't apply to you, just think about cats for a minute. The College of Engineering requires that you complete certain requirements in order to apply to a department, so do those requirements as soon as you can. You only have 4 semesters. You can apply to a department in whichever semester you finish them. Biomedical is like the most competitive department. The rest of them aren't so much, but whenever you can finish those requirements, you should do it. Okay, so normal time, that applies to everyone. Stop being distracted by cats. So Madison, of course, is known as a party school. I don't do it. A lot of people do. In fact, if you heard anyone other than me in this video, that's probably where they're going because it's Friday night. If you don't want to go out, you don't have to. I mean, I guess it's up to you. There's a culture of drinking, but the university's pretty good about, like, they really want you to get back. So that's more important to them, is that you're, like, safe. Like, obviously they don't want you to drink, but they'd rather you were they'd rather you got back to your dorm all right. If you were drunk, then you spent the night somewhere random drunk. If you have any more questions about UW-Madison that I didn't answer, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Bye. Oh, one more thing about dorms. If the carpet dimensions they tell you to buy get smaller than that if you're buying a carpet, because the dimensions they're giving you are the absolute maximum and you will have one hell of a time trying to get it in around the furniture.